Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com as well as Cardsphere.com. Today we are going to be playing with an Exalted deck list, courtesy of Adea, who sent in this general deck list and I've tuned it a little bit. The idea is to really take advantage of the fact that mana dorks have additional abilities stapled on them. And we have 8 mana dorks with Exalted, which whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And we also have some number of Green Sun in order to find them as well, although this can scale into some of our bigger threats later on. Generally speaking, what we're looking to do with this deck list is to ramp out into one of Tireless Tracker, Questing Beast, and that one has a lot of words on it. That one has a whole lot of words on it. No one actually knows all of the words on Questing Beast, unfortunately. It's just impossible to know. Or Shifting Ceratops. Now, I have played mono green Stompy deck lists before, and I guess ultimately this is kind of a Stompy deck list, although we're not really playing the Chalice of the Voids and Trinispheres that are often like very traditional of this archetype. So, like, I guess we're almost closer to a full-on aggro deck list. One caveat here, the original version of the deck list did have Undermountain Explorer, I believe is the name of the card, the 4-mana green initiative card, which unfortunately is not on Magic Online as of the time of this recording. Hopefully it'll get there soon, because I do think that would be a good fit in this deck list. So we're hoping to maybe turn 1 Tireless Tracker off something like an Ancient Tomb and a Spirit Guide, or play a Hierarch effect on turn 1, allowing us to play one of these larger creatures on turn 2, or maybe Tireless Tracker followed by a land drop. We have a handful of ways to use our mana in this deck list, and Hexdrinker is one of the big ones. Now, this card used to be an absolute house in a Legacy, never in like a really, really good deck, but occasionally in the right metagames, it would see play in like a Rug Delver sideboard or something, and it was pretty potent. Unfortunately, the printing of Prismatic Ending means that control decks now have more reasonable game 1 ways to get rid of this, but protection from instants and then protection from everything and having a baby Progenitus is still pretty reasonable. As far as other tech goes, we do have one copy of Allosaurus Shepherd that we can search for with Green Sun so that all of our various spells can't be countered, and we do have some other silver bullets in the sideboard that we can search up with it as well. Generally speaking, the mana count is really high in this deck list, and I actually cut a couple of mana sources from it. I am running a couple of Horizon Canopies so that we can convert some of those lands into cards much, much later on in the matchup. But when I goldfished this deck a handful of times before starting recording here, I was doing really powerful things consistently. So maybe as long as I have the mana to cast this big dumb stuff, it'll work out okay. But I do anticipate we might have some flooding problems in some rounds. As far as the sideboard goes, the rest of it is pretty pointed. We need to really have a strong, strong game versus combo in the post-sideboard games. We're not running things like Chalices and Trinispheres. So we're trying to beat graveyard-based combo decks specifically right now. Between 4 Leyline of the Void and 4 Endurances, I'm hoping that we have game versus that type of combo deck. Otherwise, we're hedging against the artifact-based combo decks. And whether or not you want to categorize something like 8 cast as combo, I'll kind of leave that up to you. It spirals in the same way a combo deck often might. And the spice as far as the sideboard goes here is Run Afoul. Target opponent sacrifices a creature with flying. This is our 1 mana removal spell for things ranging from Grizzlebrand to Merit Lodge to Murktide Regent. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop into a league here. If you're new and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. Likes and comments are the easiest ways to support my content for free. Let's battle. All right, what do I think of this? We have turn 1 Hexdrinker, turn 2 Pump Hexdrinker, turn 3 Tireless Tracker and Land Drop or Questing Beast. It's like not the worst. It's also not necessarily the best. I can also just turn 2 Tireless Tracker. I don't know, maybe just like 1, 2, 3 is enough aggro that I can keep this. Alright, buckle up. We're in full-on aggro mode. Ooh, Force of Will pitching a Daze. That's fine with me. We're very likely playing against Blue-Red Delver. Kind of the de facto best deck in the format, although, like, it and Initiative are currently vying for that title. And that is a shuffle with that Ponder. Not sure 100% what I'm supposed to read off of that. Could be opponent looking for their next land drop. Could be them looking for a threat. They didn't just play like a Dragon Rage Channeler or a Delver on turn 1 here. I think I am in the business of jamming. Like, if my opponent has another Daze, they have another Daze, I would be super happy to get this forced. I would be less happy to get this Lightning Bolted. But, like, given that I want to cast Questing Beast on curve next turn anyway, well, not so much. Now I would be real sad if opponent has a Lightning Bolt. Damn it. Okay, technically not a Lightning Bolt. Give me like a Spirit Guide here. Do I want to hurt myself to level that up? Not really. I just want to play Ancient Tomb and then always cast either Endurance or Questing Beast next turn. I think I go ahead and play this and just level Hexdrinker once. Good enough to get a Force of Will last time. One counter on that, I'll be passing the turn. I will be sad if my opponent Murktide Regents this turn, but I don't think I'm in the position to junk both of these cards to potentially stop a Murktide Regent. Brainstorm is fantastic for me. Oh, no more lands. So this is now interesting. I kind of want to nuke my opponent's graveyard and continue to just bust in with Endurance. Or sorry, with Hexdrinker. Let's cast an Endurance playing around a Daze. We'll nuke my opponent's graveyard. We'll level up Hexdrinker once here. I am really unsure if that's the correct play, but it seems like if my opponent ends up finding a land... Well, I guess it was Brainstorm on top. I guess they're not going to find a land. Maybe I'm wrong then. But if they... Well, no, if they ponder or something afterwards, they can't dismember? Yeah, that's a game 1 dismember, folks. Sure wasn't playing around that. Ever. Alright, great. This is now a Questing Beast around a Daze, which I am quite happy with. This is a 4/4, so this is a big deal, because if this hits play, it's probably not leaving play. I will swing in for over half of my opponent's life total here. And my opponent is probably dead next turn. You may ponder. Game 1 Dismember, though. It's good, like, anti-initiative tech, because, like, a White Plume Adventurer becomes a 5/5 very quickly, and then the Lightning Bolts and Chain Lightnings and stuff don't actually kill it. Alright, I would like this pile of Run-Afowls. That's what, like, that's why these exist. And then the question after that is, like, do I want to play either Choke or Leyline of the Void? Like, what don't I want? Green Sun is, like, not mana efficient here. I could see cutting that, but then that takes away this angle, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. If I get rid of Green Sun, then Dryad Arbor is no longer a ramp spell. Yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. I don't really know how I'm supposed to sideboard. Tireless Tracker, I guess, is like the most awkward thing versus Lightning Bolt, because like these, like all this stuff lives through Lightning Bolt. How am I supposed to approach this Allosaurus Shepherd? I also think I probably play Choke when I'm on the play, but not when I'm on the draw. My opponent has a playset of bolts and a Chain Lightning and at least one Dismember. Like, maybe this isn't reliable. Maybe I go down on that. Maybe go down a Green Sun. Go down a Tracker. Down a Spirit Guide or something like that. I'm really unsure. Yeah, this looks totally fine to me. I love that I can just, like... Oh, okay, we are Rug with Dismembers. Always this. The next play is significantly harder. I think I just go Hierarch and make my opponent spend resources attacking my mana. Because one Hexdrinker is pretty likely to be able to go the distance if I get it leveled past 3 early enough. Delver flips to Brainstorm. That's something that I really don't want to see. I guess my like shifting Ceratops and Questing Beasts are slightly worse against like the presence of Dismember. Bulk is fine. All right, there is a lightning bolt. This is all good so far. Riot Arbor, not the best draw. But let's get this going. And looks like I get 1 level up here. No end of turn dismember or anything. I'm going to eat 3 more damage from Delver. I'm healthy adjacent. I will absolutely not go like so far as to say like I feel okay about this matchup right now. Like on the draw versus turn 1 blind flip Delver is like absolutely scary, but hopefully if our opponent has something like a dismember, it gets used on the Hexdrinker so that this can actually do its stuff. I would much prefer to play Shifting Ceratops on a turn where I can hold up more mana. I can feed 2 mana into Hexdrinker, have my opponent use a removal spell on it, and then play a new Hexdrinker, and drop Ceratops after that with green held up. I think I'm into that. Although I guess I'm supposed to play this Hexdrinker before I level the next time, because Daze is a thing that exists. A new Hexdrinker. Alright, this Hexdrinker resolves. I will attempt to pump this one now, and see if we eat a Dismember or Lightning Bolt. A Stifle, absolutely. Crash in for 2. And next turn I've got some very powerful options available to me. Like I can level this fully, I can Shifting Ceratops with haste. Delver's still crashing in. Not to Murktide Regent levels of mana yet. I haven't seen something like a Tarmogoyf yet. Or Brainstorm. Alright, there's not another land drop here. Oh wow, that's really good. I think that becomes my play in this turn cycle. I think I attempt to level here first, though. Oh! We did it. I think I now go ahead and play this. Attempt to crash in for 6. Opponent goes to 12. I will be passing the turn. I'll attempt to Endurance away my opponent's Delver here. And this isn't actually that scary here. So I'll be tapping this for green. We're going to go ahead and play this Endurance. The plan is actually to get this spell countered, and then hopefully kill my opponent with Shifting Ceratops next turn. We're hoping to dodge Murktide Regent specifically. We have failed in that capacity. An 8/8 Murktide Regent, so we're going to have to use this card defensively, it looks like. Which is fine. Tapping these. And this is a nice combo here. That's just a round that's in play. I don't want to give it haste here. I need to use it to block. Play a Horizon Canopy. Lose out on this land. I think start leveling up this one. Again, tapping it for green instead of its normal mana cost via Yavimaya. And we're chilling. A Dismember will literally kill me. Oh, there are Tarmogoyfs in here too. Yep. The small Tarmogoyf. The 2/3. I'll be activating Shifting Ceratops' ability. Pick up Reach. I do unfortunately have to block this one. So I'm only taking 3 in this turn cycle. Always playing Dryad Arbor. Need to leave 1 mana up for this, which means I have 3 mana to work with. I guess I'm attacking with the 4/4 Hexdrinker. Dropping my opponent to the point where 1 Exalted hit from this thing could kill them. Alright. Bam. Unless they choose to block with the Tarmogoyf. Alright, they do choose to block with the Tarmogoyf. That's fine. Goodbye, Goyf. Hello, Hierarch 1. Again, tapping these carefully. Hello, Hierarch 2. And I think my opponent attacks with both of these and can't play another creature. I'm so good. But I think I will actually want to just keep funneling mana into this one. In case they do play another creature. That's it. That's it. We ate Delver. We ate Murktide. Hexdrinkers. Shifting Ceratops. Good, honest, mono green magic. Today's video is sponsored by Cardsphere.com. Cardsphere is a service that allows you to buy, sell, and most importantly, trade your Magic cards with other people and game stores from around the world. As you can see here, they are doing a lot of business. They only take a very small fee, 3%, And if you decide you want cash instead of cards, you can also get paid out via PayPal for a small cut. P.S. They also have articles, so please consider checking them out. Okay, round 2, I'm on the play. I have turn 1 Noble Hierarch, turn 2 Shifting Ceratops. I will keep this hand. If my Noble Hierarch gets answered, I very much am going to need another green source, I think, to have like a super functional hand. But this is a pretty aggressive hand that doesn't care about a counterspell after turn 1, and it also has some like graveyard hate insurance for if we are playing against something like, say, Reanimator. We're playing against an Urza's Saga. Be a cool time to draw an Elvish Spirit Guide. An Ignoble Hierarch. Is there any world where I want to play Tireless Tracker instead of a 5/4? I don't think so. Like, especially if this is 8 cast and like the protection from blue ends up being relevant. I just want to slam a dinosaur this turn and a dinosaur next turn. We're doing it. We're absolutely doing it. Also, like, the faster I get these dinosaurs... Ooh. Painter? That's Painter. Alright, I would love to draw something that does something versus my opponent fetching Grindstone. Do I have anything that does something to stop this? I can draw one of two Sages? Uh-oh. Tireless Tracker, play land, crack clue, be short on mana? Oh man, am I gambling on my opponent not having third land? Oh, that's gross. Okay. And this is what it is. Tireless Tracker, land, make a clue, crack a clue, throw the tracker. I think I am supposed to play Ignoble Hierarch here. I get 2 Exalted triggers. I'm attacking for 7 on turn 3. Could have played another uncounterable dinosaur. But I'm just getting painted. We do have a pile of anti-artifact cards in the sideboard. So, like, that's a thing. Yep, there's the land. I solemnly admit defeat. If this does not work... Cast Endurance, pitching Hexdrinker. I will Endurance myself, returning those cards to my library. We may now go ahead and pitch Endurance. Everyone in the comments is losing their mind typing like, you can Endurance yourself. I know, I knew. Alright. Is my opponent dead this turn? 5, 10, 14. Yes, they are going to need to block here. This is me playing a Shifting Ceratops. This is me activating a Shifting Ceratops. We're getting haste. Guess I can go ahead and crack this clue now. Opponent's block is obligatory at this point. Dino. That's right. Take 10, going to 3. Opponent would need, like, a Painter and an LED. But most of the Painter decks these days are not on LED. Is this deck good? It feels like this deck might be good. Force of Vigor in, Collector Oof, Outland, Liberator in. Those are probably all the cards that I'm boarding in. I don't think I care about Allosaurus Shepherd here. It technically has some text versus like Pyroblast for Painter Servant, but they can just Pyroblast the thing once it's in play. I don't think that matters so much. I think it's a bit of a tough ask to send a billion mana into Hexdrinker here. I think I'm much more interested in these threats instead. I think I'm going to board out all the Hexdrinkers. They're going to be bad versus, like, Lightning Bolt and Lightning Bolt-like effects, such as Twin Shot Sniper. So I think I'm just, like, not going there. It's also the sort of thing where I don't want to funnel a couple mana into it and then just, like, have the whole Painter's Servant Pyroblast thing happen and eat that card. The protection from everything is kind of neat as the game goes really long, but I don't know that these games are going really long, you know? Absolute keep. We have a natural collector oof here. What? So are they Are they leylining me purely because I just did that endurance thing? I mean, cool. I don't think I, like, ramp this out ASAP. I think I just play a mana dork of some other kind this turn. Let's just pull the Dryad Arbor out of the deck so that I don't draw that later. And then depending on what exactly my opponent plays here, I've got various options. Fable is fine. That probably makes me want to play my Vigilance creature here. And it will be worth my Elvish Spirit Guide to do so. So this does make my opponent's Ancient Tomb better. The Beast! Vigilance, Death Touch, Haste. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. When it deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. Holy keyword soup Batman. Anyway, our opponent's at 14. Let's see if they're gonna loot. Ooh, they're looting away another Fable. I guess it's less good if they don't have the free attacks with it, so, like, I guess that's fair. Oh ho ho ho! Target creature gets -5, -5. Alright. Alright, that's mighty rude. I'm gonna get hit for 2, and my opponent can make a treasure token. Now that both these things are in play, I probably have to spend my turn playing Collector Oof, and then, like, a Noble Hierarch or 2. Alright, great, they didn't immediately use the mana, which is nice for me. Tracker will be good in a minute. Let's go ahead and oof. And let's play the Ignoble Hierarch. Do I want to use another mana to play Noble Hierarch? Probably not because of Fury. So this thing might be a problem in a minute. And I do have a non-bow here of Tireless Tracker, Clue Tokens, and Collector Oof. Alright, my opponent knows that they can use my land. That's the third Fable. I think this thing should 100% be attacking in, yeah. I will be taking this hit. I am not willing to make this trade here. My creatures are going to be better on the offensive anyway because of, oh, I don't like that. Because of Exalted. Alright. Play a Tireless Tracker. Play a land drop. We will start doing this stuff even if we can't necessarily crack it now. Am I playing another 1/1 into a Fury? I think if my opponent has a Fury, they're just going to beat me anyway. I think the answer is yes. I think I do offer a trade for both of the or Collector Oof. I think that's acceptable. Yield to these. Okay, my opponent's just gonna chump. Alright, that's fine. Pass turn. Collector Oof dies somehow. I can crack a clue. The situation's like not great. My opponent can make very large construct tokens because I can copy their Goblin Shaman, attack in with both of them, and like get 2 more treasures, and then these like will very cleanly outpass everything on my board. Yeah. Oh wow, they've chosen not to copy it. Is a decision. I don't know, I guess they can make an extra Urza Saga token and crash in with that. I am going to go ahead and use that for mana and crack this clue immediately. I can't do it in a different phase to make it more of a surprise, unfortunately. Forest is not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I think my opponent could have just, like, copied the Fury and basically ended things immediately. Although, honestly, like, giving an artifact token haste and crashing in with that basically does the same thing. So maybe it's one of those times where, like, every road leads to victory. I don't know how I win this game. I'm just going to take the 6 here. Like, this is worth at least 6 life next turn as well. That's a Green Sun. Can be another Collector Oof. That's not good enough. 5 mana. I can get a Questing Beast. Back in for 8. That's not good enough. And my opponent has a 5/5 anyway. I don't think the Green Sun does it, and I don't think my Clue token is going to do it either. I also, like, potentially have to just face down a second and potentially third Urza Saga token next turn. Yeah. That was no good for me. I'm actually going to just click submit as quickly as possible here and try to get a feel for whether or not my opponent is going to take those Leyline of the Voids out of their deck. Alright, they spent a little bit of sideboarding, so they might have swapped them out. Alright. So this is the off Horizon Canopy. Turn 1 Dryad Arbor, turn 2 City of Traders, Shifting Ceratops. This is unexciting, but probably fine. I do have to think about whether or not I want to take extra damage or whether or not I want this to have no possibility of destroying an artifact later. And I think I'd rather take bonus damage here. This is probably worth 4-ish points of life over the course of this game. Mountain, Lotus Petal. I can also just Green Sun for Collector Oof this turn, if that's a thing that I would like to do. Word versus Fury. It's so much better for me if I play a City of Traders next turn, because I can go Dinosaur and Haste next turn. I'm gonna change how I play this out. Be worth a life here. Go ahead and Green Sun for 2. And there's the Oof. We could eat an end of turn Lightning Bolt. And we do. Okay, like we're still attacking with Shifting Ceratops on like the same turn that I would have previously. So I think I'm okay with that. Cool. So I guess I don't need to pay life here. I don't need this. Well, I guess I'm paying it either way. All right, so play Shifting Ceratops. Activate its ability. To give it haste. Crash in for 5. Now, the good news about this situation is that Painter, generally speaking, is only playing like 2 Grindstones right now instead of like the full playset. So it's actually somewhat unlikely that my opponent actually just like has a Grindstone in hand and is going to be able to just easily kill me. That's another Collector Oof if I want it. I kind of just want a Questing Beast though. There's no capacity for me to really double spell in this turn cycle. I think I am going big here. Alright, I am getting blasted. We will attempt to Dinosaur Lava Axe our opponent once again. They'll go to 10. We weather the storm for a turn. Oh yeah, we're good with this. We're very good with that. I attack first. I don't think I need to do anything pre-combat here. Attempt another attack for 5. Opponent is down to 5. I think I tap like this. That is good enough for another blast. And then I will use the remainder of my mana here to cast a Tireless Tracker. The goal being to present lethal next turn through Painter's Servant as a blocker. Okay, we win the match, and we're very quickly 2-0. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I host all of my deck lists here. And one of the things that I want to show you is there's more than one way to view your decks on Moxfield. So normally deck lists are sorted by like what type the card is, but you can use tags on Moxfield. So if you're trying to group parts of your deck into conceptual categories so that you can really figure out how many of each effect you have and balance your deck list, this is one of the best places to do that. Okay, I'm on the draw for this one. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to keep this or not. I can potentially play turn 1 Hexdrinker, just level it on turn 2, and have Tireless Tracker as backup with some Graveyard Hate. I don't know if I'm always supposed to just like keep hands that have mana acceleration, but turn 2 leveled Hexdrinker seems reasonable. All right. Which unfair are we? Which unfair way are we playing Chrome Mox? We're playing against Initiative Stompy. All right, so we are getting a real league tonight. We're playing against the big dogs. Owls on 1. Acceptable. And not a particularly strong opener versus my deck. Although if my opponent can play an initiative creature next turn as follow-up, that is scary for me. We're hoping that they do something like play a... Fuck yeah, like a Thalia. Who would play that awful card? Who would play that awful card? Couldn't be me. Alright, so we have a couple dead cards, but we're also very shortly going to have the better bodies. We're just hoping to dodge an initiative creature for another turn or two while we kind of get set up. Battle is a-okay. Yeah, the Thalia attack is very reasonable here. First strike is good. I will get to crash back for more damage, though. I mean, that's more of these than I really wanted. Ancient Tomb's a little awkward. And the fact that I don't have easy double green is a little awkward. Am I the beatdown? Really depends. Say I'm the beatdown. And hope that my opponent stumbles here. Alright, counters on my creatures. Draw a card. Lol, 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 lol. Dash in for 4 this turn. 10 or more next turn. This is going to be tight, but I think we took game 1 versus initiative. Guess I'm looking to dodge another Solitude. That would kind of be a problem card here. Wonder if my opponent's hand was a mulligan. Something's happening. An Elite Spellbinder, sure. I am just going to fully outclass that. You like to take my next Tireless Tracker? You would! So now Thalia can't attack into my X3 creature here. Okay, Endurance is not really what I'm looking for here. I'm pretty sure that I'm attacking with both my Tireless Trackers this turn. I'm just gonna crack this clue now and, like, see what I draw. Because, like, whether or not I draw a land is kind of a big deal. Am I ready to give up City of Traders? Yeah, I think I have the win, more or less, on board here. I think I crack a clue. Going to 12. Grow the trackers. That's an Elvish Spirit Guide. That's interesting. I don't think I need to use that right now. I think I attack with both of these. Let my opponent do their blocks. See how they approach that. Okay, just Thalia. This is my opponent taking 6. I think that's fine. Alright, they go to 7. Then I'm going to go ahead and play an Allosaurus Shepherd, which cannot be countered. And then I believe I just follow that up with a couple more creatures here. This is worth the life to me. Uncounterable. And I believe this is also worth the life to me to just put another body in play. Yeah. I don't think my opponent's hand was a keep. Just being real. So I did a search before I started this league, and I was looking for a pro-white creature that I could fetch with Green Sun, and the only thing that I found was Animar, which is a rug card, like one of the old school commanders from I think the first wave of precons, and I wasn't about that life. I'm not sure that I'm sideboarding any cards. Like, maybe I play an Outland Liberator, but I don't think I'm really interested in Force of Vigor. I think I'll play the Outland Liberator. If I were my opponent, I would be siding out Chalice of the Void, so I'm actually going to side out my Allosaurus Shepherd. My opponent is extremely likely to be boarding in for Swords to Plowshares versus what I'm doing here. I don't think this hand does anything. I can do a Green Sun for 1 on turn 1 using Spirit Guide, then have 4 mana on turn 2, or play Dryad Arbor on turn 1. Off Green Sun. They'll have 4 mana on turn 2, be able to cast a Green Sun for 3. Like, fine. I don't know, maybe if I can produce a creature on turn 1, the hand is a keep, just so, like, an initiative creature being played out is at least contested. But I think I just get run over when my opponent's on the play, when they know the matchup, and they know just, like, play an initiative creature forehead is the line. Lauren? It's Lauren. This is 4 mana, so this is probably turn 1 Seasoned Dungeoneer. I can at least contest the initiative, which is nice. So let's grab Dryad Arbor here. My opponent is going to make Seasoned Dungeoneer a dummy thick. That's the second room of the Undercity. That's what it's called. All right, my opponent's got another land drop. And now this whole explore thing starts to happen. Finding Walking Ballista. That's pretty good. My opponent's got a 6/7 situation where I kind of want to Collector Oof. Back, take the initiative. Walking Ballista is annoying. I think I'm just dead. I think I'm full on just dead. Like, my opponent has a 6/7 in play. I don't have removal because I'm a mono green deck. Like, I can take the initiative back. That thing gets pro creatures and then traps me, so I get hit for either 11 or 12, and Walking Ballista basically just kills me. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the towel, unfortunately. Given that I know my opponent is playing Walking Ballista, do I want one Collector Oof when I am on the play? That seems like a reasonable option. I don't know, Tireless Tracker was really good game one. Maybe a Hexdrinker's slow. I like Endurance versus a 3/3 specifically, and I don't like it otherwise. I think I'm going to go like that. I don't think I'm going to go for Force of Vigor to, like, specifically try to go after, like, a Chrome Mox or Lotus Petal that my opponent passes the turn with. Like, I don't know that that's profitable. This is a solid hand that loses to Solitude or Swords to Plowshares, and otherwise has a real shot at running away with the game. And given the power level discrepancy between our two decks, I think I've got to go for this here. Got like 7 or 8 cards that I need to play around, which is like not good. But my opponent is not mulliganing for Swords to Plowshares. They're mulliganing to make a fast initiative creature. So we hope to dodge. Narrator's voice. We did not dodge. All right. Hierarch pass. We do have a decent number of like fat things that I can draw here. I am not a fan of the risks that I have to take to try to keep up in this matchup. Because like this can just happen. Now my opponent gets their basic planes. And I'm in a bad position. An ignoble Hierarch. I don't love what I'm about to do here. I really don't love what I am about to do here. Well, this is really awkward timing since I like have already floated this mana. But this is why I tapped. I wanted to be able to play a green card like this if I drew it. Why shock myself rather than just using this land. I don't think I want to put that Swords to Plowshares back in their deck. So my opponent now gets to forge up this creature. They've got a 5/5. They can attack into me. I can attack back with a relatively large creature, and then hopefully take and hold the initiative via chump blocks. Seasoned Dungeoneer is going to... Whoa. Not saying that's wrong. Just surprising is all. On it maybe like valuing looking for removal very highly, or like they need a land drop to play a Seasoned Dungeoneer or something. Yeah, that's what it was. Yep, there's the Sungeoneer. There's the Sungeoneer. They'll take their treasure token for stash. They get to attack in for either 3 or 4 damage. Or not. Your plan is to just hold the initiative until Throne of the Dead 3, I guess. That is, I guess, reasonable, but this just happened. I can attack with this. It becomes a 6/7. Killing Seasoned Dungeoneer is kind of a huge win. I accept. Always yield to the Ignoble Hierarch gang. Alright, they are opting for Chump Block as their mode. They are just hoping to hold the initiative until they get to Throne of the Dead 3. With this extra blocker here, that's pretty likely. Although I can draw a creature with Trample and trample on their plans. Ho ho. Alright, so this gets pro creatures. There's an Aganjo. I go to 16, just in case you're not familiar with this one. This is 4 damage, but it's only to an attacking or blocking creature. Outland Liberator, not great here. So if I attack with Endurance, Endurance just gets nuked by Aganjo. I can attack with an Ignoble Hierarch and trade with a Skeleton, or trade with the Aganjo. I guess that's what I'm doing. I did make my 3/4 successfully. That doesn't mean anything, though. Yep, that's fine. I mean, like, it's not really fine, but, like, more accurately, it's happening. Alright, we have Day, Night, the Undercity, the Initiative, a Treasure Token, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree in play. Ooh, my opponent had a Solitude on top of that. That's rough. I don't think I beat that. Yeah. I am not 100% sure that my opponent played this game optimally. Like, aggressively scrying for the land to hit Seasoned Dungeoneer if you're not just trying to, like... Oh yeah, that's gross. If you're not just trying to, like, press the advantage by giving this to protection and exploring and whatnot. Doesn't, like, feel like it's optimal, but, like, it worked out. I flooded out a little bit, and again, there's a huge power level disparity between our decks, and I don't have removal, and my opponent does. With that in play, I believe that I am comfortable conceding here. GG's. And this is a moment where I really do wish I had my Undermountain Explorer to like be able to take the initiative myself, or Green Sun for the initiative. All right, I've kept my opening hand here. I've got the possibility of playing either a Green Sun or a Noble Hierarch on turn 1 into a turn 2 Questing Beast, or Green Sun for a pretty respectable number. Emery kind of whiffs. Not 100%, but kind of whiffs. Let's play a Forest here, and I think I do go ahead and take the Dryad Arbor out of my deck here. Unfortunately, our Collector Oof is in the sideboard. It's not available to us in game 1. Depending on what my opponent does this turn, I may or may not end up using Endurance. Opponent started to tap for something. Like, if they don't play around in Endurance and they just, like, bobble immediately, I will probably cast Endurance on my turn. Yeah, Chalice is totally fine. I'm hoping they make this error. Well, I guess they'll probably crack it end of turn either way. Yeah, but I would very much like to get rid of this bobble. Now, they'll probably draw another one, but taking this one out seems kind of like a big deal. And I think I'm supposed to just hardcast this rather than, like, play City of Traders this turn, play Questing Beasts, and then pitch cast it. Like, I think I want to rumble enough in combat and, like, have more than one body here for when things like that inevitably happen. Now my opponent, oh, Thoughtcast there is gross. Now my opponent can sack their pedal, replay their pedal with, with Emery to get another Thopter. Luckily, the Questing Beast can, like, crash through these small creatures, and, like, not that big of a deal. But that was kind of a bullshit double Thoughtcast turn, I'm not going to lie to you. Ceratops is good. Ceratops is really good. I think I just need to get Questing Beast down immediately, though. So, I didn't need to play City of Traders there. I'm not playing another one of these this turn because of Chalice. That was a mistake. That should have just been Snow-Covered Forest. Alright, I didn't get Force of Willed. Am I beating down with both? I trade Endurance for 2 Thopters. Given that Shifting Ceratops is coming, I think I'm actually okay with that. Okay, or we can just do that. That's fine. Kind of assumed that my opponent might want to take that body out of play. Alright, that is Legend Ruling Emery just to look for something better to do. Opponent found a Kappa Cannoneer. I think I'm dead to that. Yeah. Oh. No. So there's the Kappa Cannoneer, and if you haven't seen this before, Kappa Cannoneer plus Psi is kind of bullshit, because every time you cast an artifact spell, you get a Thopter, so every artifact spell is essentially worth 2 counters on Kappa Cannoneer. So that's the sort of thing that I was very, very, very much hoping to dodge, because I was trying to ride a Questing Beast to victory. Now, admittedly, Shifting Ceratops is pro-blue. Alright, I will take a little bit of damage here, but, like, the pro-blue doesn't matter. My opponent can always give this unblockable by sacrificing a Lotus Petal and just going in. While I could show my opponent Shifting Ceratops and pretend that I'm still playing a game of Magic, I believe that I've just lost this one. I am going to go ahead and concede. We've got Force of Vigor, Oof Oof Liberator. I don't think I want Run of Fowls or Leyline of the Void. I showed my opponent a Green Sun. I don't think I showed them Hierarch that game. I didn't show them Hexdrinker that game. Cards in my deck are good for extremely different reasons. I think Hexdrinker lines up really poorly against Psi. I think that's probably going. It lines up poorly against Psi. It trades with Emery. It's not going to beat Urza Saga tokens in terms of size. And the next thing I'm looking at here is Allosaurus Shepherd. Like, my opponent is a blue deck, but my Green Sun is meant to get Collector Oof most of the time, not Allosaurus Shepherd. So while I would love to have this in my opening hand and make that a turn 1 play, I don't think that's happening. So oddly enough, I've boarded out Allosaurus Shepherd versus both of the blue decks that I've played against. It's just turn 2 Questing Beast, the hand doesn't do anything else. I think I'm going to no sir that one. Whereas this is a turn 2 Collector Oof with a lot of flexibility. This hand's a keep. I have to figure out what I'm not keeping. Potentially the Spirit Guide? Probably the Spirit Guide. Alright. Land, Hierarch, go. Yeah, if this Hierarch is Force of Willed, I will look super stupid for throwing back Spirit Guide, but I don't think you just fire off a Force of Will on an Ignoble Hierarch like that. Alright, what you got, opponent? How bad is this going to be? Second free spell. Third free spell. Storms 3. Seat. Thoughtcast. There's an Emery. And slightly awkward. But oh shit. Through one. I'm just going to confirm. I'm like 99% sure I put two Collector Roofs in this. I did. This could scale up later, but I think I just actually want to cast this one this turn. I've got 4 cards. 2 of them need to be Force of Will or Force of Negation plus blue card. Opponent understood the assignment. And we'll see how far I slip behind here. They weren't willing to Mishra's Bobble immediately. My Petal is fine. Unfortunately, I think this means a Kappa Cannoneer is coming this turn. No, it's a Thought Monitor. That's fine. Okay. That's kind of a lot. Emery is going to be a pain. My opponent's going to have 5 cards for looks at Force of Will for my Collector Oof. My Collector Oof, I probably shut off Urza Saga from being a big deal. Second Endurance is not bad. But if this spell doesn't resolve, I believe I just lose the game. If this resolves, Emery basically does nothing, and Urza Saga hopefully does nothing. I can take 4 in the air a couple of times until I can stabilize with Endurance. Alright. We have a bounce spell, a removal spell. What are we looking at here? Petty Theft, sure. That Spirit Guide from the beginning of the game would be looking hot right about now. This is a huge deal, like them having the bounce spell there, because now they can make a single Urza Saga token, and a single Urza Saga token might beat me. Like, I just don't have removal. Like, that's not something that mono green really does. Like, you can fight, but that's about it. Yeah. Fine. I'm not really at the point where I can super effectively, like, evoke an Endurance. Oh, man. They would have had... Well, I guess I don't know. They could have drawn that elsewhere. Yeah, now they just have Urza Saga activate, like, very cleanly beat me in combat between the 2 flyers in this. I don't think I can win anymore. I am going to go ahead and concede this one. Yeah, that was unfortunate. They answered my attempt at a Collector Roof, and they answered my second Collector Roof as well. GG's. Alright, I will be keeping my opening hand here. It's strong in a vacuum, like, with a very strong turn 1 into turn 2 play. But if memory serves, the daddy tends to play, like, broken graveyard combo decks, so, like, just having a natural endurance in the opener is very strong here. Yeah. This is Dredge. I do have to decide when I will use the endurance. Maybe immediately. Got 4 mana this turn. I think I just use City of Traders here. I don't think I want to take the extra damage. I think this turn is Questing Beast just so it can attack now. And then I try to draw... Like, if I draw a green source, it's so much better to play Shifting Ceratops next turn. Could get greedy and try to, like, let my opponent have 1 Dredge. They need another way to discard that thing. But I'm just going to go ahead and punch for 5. And I'm just going to nuke the first attempt here. So let's Endurance, pitching Tireless Tracker, and send those to the Shadow Realm. There's the upside of also taking out the Faithless Looting, rather than, like, waiting and maybe getting blown out by something else happening. Alright, this is what I didn't want to see. I didn't want them to have a second way to put creatures into the graveyard. Alright, there's a Grave Troll. We'll see if they have, like, a breakthrough. They have a Careful Study. Whatever happens, happens here. That wasn't too bad. They didn't hit any creatures that come back immediately. And I did hit the green source that I was hoping for, which is very good. Actually, there is an Icarid there at the end. Alright. 2 mana, float mana, Ceratops, Ceratops has haste. Attack in for 9. I don't think I win this one, though. I think with Cephalid Coliseum in play, it's going to be tricky. Questing Beast helps a bit, but like as long as my opponent puts a Hogak into play, like they have a big creature that they can block. But like we'll see. Going to be multiple dredges, presumably making multiple creatures. At a glance, looks like 2 bridge from belows. So that's at least 4 creatures. I don't know that Trample is really going to do what I want it to do. Oh, another bridge and another Narcomoeba here. That's not great for me. Opponent will go ahead and attack. Guess how many Cobalt Therapies are in their graveyard? 1, 2, 3. They can get rid of all of this stuff anyway. Yeah, I'll just take this damage, I guess. I guess it really doesn't matter, though. I will go ahead and block. They get bridge from below tokens. Those were basically free anyway because of the Cobalt Therapies in the graveyard. So as long as my... Oh, wow. So that's going to be rough. There's another Narcomoeba. And yet another bridge from below. 4 cards left in my opponent's deck. This is going to be the Hogak coming back. Now my opponent can sacrifice that Hogak to make a couple of zombies, and they can repeat that process as well. Will indeed cast the Hogak again, and repeat that process. And then they'll repeat that one more time. Oh, sorry, one more time after that. And the Hogak comes back. So the only way I can win here is my opponent punting. I'll go ahead and attack with both my creatures and hope that my opponent misses. That Shifting Ceratops can gain trample. Alright, my opponent did not miss that fact, so I'm going to be dead on the backswing here, and I will concede. I may have fired off the Endurance too early, but like that game goes very differently if they don't have that initial careful study that got them going. Alright, Leyline is pretty good here. We'll be playing that. Don't think I'm interested in attacking their artifact mana. I can maybe play 1 Collector Oof for niche scenarios, but it like gets in the way of my Tireless Trackers sometimes. Allosaurus Shepherd seems fully unnecessary. Hexdrinker is really mana intensive here. Protection from everything is nice. Tireless Tracker is very slow. I think I'm going to leave myself with a Hexdrinker to go and get, and then trim a Tireless Tracker. Okay, I'm on the play here. I have a decent amount of mana, but nothing that interacts with the graveyard at all, so that just is going to have to be a mulligan here. This hand is awkward, but it is going to be a keep. I'll be getting rid of one of the copies of City of Traders here. I will be putting both copies of Leyline into play. Opponent has a Leyline of Sanctity, presumably so that I cannot target them with an Endurance. And we'll see what they can do. Okay. There's a reasonable sized Green Sun. I can Green Sun for 3 and get a Tireless Tracker. I will go ahead and do that here. And next turn I can start attacking for a decent amount of damage, hopefully scaling up Tireless Tracker. Alright, there's another mana confluence from my opponent. Alright, great. We were actually hoping to draw a land there. That lets us investigate. Use the floating mana from City of Traders to go ahead and crack that clue. Up a Yavimaya, which is kind of whatever. Go ahead and cast the Ignoble Hierarch, and we'll swing in for 6. And this is a very respectable clock, especially when coupled with the fact that my opponent has Mana Confluence as their primary like land drop here. Alright, they're at 14. Looting's fine. Like, it's a very good draw for them, because it gets them towards something that can potentially help them get through this. If they have anything sideboarded in, they might not. Alright, Yavimaya is not what I am looking to draw, but again, it can just be converted into more damage. That is the sort of thing that I'm looking to draw. That now means that I attack for 8 this turn. Opponent's at 5. Got 2 ley lines in play. I think that means this one's done. There is a Gemstone Mine. Actually, now that I've played a Yavimaya, these don't hurt my opponent anymore. He is fine. The City of Brass still will hurt my opponent. because like the way this is worded is it's based on whenever it becomes tapped, different than mana confluence. All right, my opponent loaded black mana with LED. They are able to cast an effective Death Toucher. This is fine. It slows me down a bit. I don't think it's that big of a deal at the end of the day. I think this one. I'll investigate and crack this clue. I don't want to be picking up more land drops here. If I attack with an Ignoble Hierarch, that is a 3-power attacker. That's not lethal. They'll probably good enough to force a block. So let's do that. Ox will jump in the way here, and we'll trade. And I can keep converting these land drops into new cards with Tireless Tracker. But I'd really just like to draw a haste creature and kill my opponent next turn. Yep, this is fine. Yeah, or a trample creature will do just fine. Go ahead and do City of Traders here. 4 mana, play Shifting Ceratops. Activate. Shifting Ceratops gains haste. Yeah. And between the haste and the trample there, my opponent is just not going to live through this turn. I now know that my opponent has a white leyline that they might bring in, or they might keep in, rather. Means I might consider this card. I think when I'm on the draw, I'm going to play both copies of Collector Oof to just help with artifact mana in case my opponent keeps a kind of clunky hand. I don't think I want to play something like Force of Vigor, though. Like, the Oofs and the Liberator at least attack for damage when necessary. I think I'm going to get rid of my last Hexdrinker here. I don't know. Maybe like 1 Tireless Tracker, 1 Hexdrinker is a better balance than 2 Tireless Trackers. Like, Hexdrinker is still a mana sink that, while it doesn't hit hard immediately, if the game gets weird, it's very reasonable. I've got a leyline, so I will be keeping this hand. And it'll be kind of a game of, did my opponent mulligan towards something that beats leyline? And how much time do I actually have? I will be getting a Dryad Arbor this turn. And we'll see what I can do from there. My opponent could, oh, no. No immediate enchantment removal. We could see a Serenity this turn as something that could answer Leyline. We do not. Oh, wow, Endurance is really good for me here. So Forest is my land drop. I'm using Elvish Spirit Guide. I think I just play the Questing Beast and start attacking immediately. I'm not guaranteed to be able to play another one of these. So let's go for the 4/4 that's hard to block. Opponent's at 16. They potentially are unable to beat the leyline. Like, we'll see. Stuff can happen. Their lands are going to do a decent amount to them. Okay, there is a Wispmare. That will answer the leyline. I still have Endurance, though. This can't be blocked by that Wispmare. Okay, what's the line? I can hold up hardcasting Endurance. I would almost rather pitchcast it, though. And just deal literally 1 more point of damage to my opponent in this turn cycle. Because every point is so precious here. I also could get Collector Oof. But I think I just like the Exalted. Pick an Ignoble Hierarch. And crash in for 5. Opponent goes to 8. And this potentially will give me a Shifting Ceratops with haste next turn. Alright, there is a Looting. Looting with flashback can definitely happen this turn. That definitely names Endurance. I just have to respond to that. And nuke their graveyard, which I don't want to do. I'm going to get rid of the Shifting Ceratops here. This is an unimpressive jab at my opponent's graveyard. But I think I just take it, given how close they are to dead. Alright. That was very good. That is exactly what I'm looking for here. So we're going to cast a Green Sun for 1. Get a Hierarch. Tap Dryad Arbor. Play a Hierarch. Crash in for 7 unblockable damage. And there we go. We end up positive in this league at a 3-2 finish. All right. Exalted Stompy, folks. It, like, actually worked. I was, like, super happy with this deck list. Like, this felt like a good legacy brew. I like where this is at, but as we saw, our power level simply does not compare to that of the initiative. and we don't really have any ability to interact with opposing creatures. And like maybe this deck could use some sort of fight card. Maybe we could use some sort of alternative removal source. In colorless cards, you can do something like a Walking Ballista or a Sky Sovereign or something like that. There's options out there. Maybe the answer is simply Dismember. Dismember is a little tough when I already have these Ancient Tombs and Horizon Canopies in the mana base, but maybe something like that is an option. There's also cards that require colorless mana, such as Spatial Contortion. There's options out here, but like if you are looking for something fun to do, like this was very fun while being relatively competitive. I really enjoyed playing this a lot. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. And if you have any thoughts on deck building, like please throw them in the comments. I would love to hear them. See ya.